Hi everyone, Peter Grada here from the Purple House in Tasmania. Today we want to do a little story on Percy and Percy's powders. So Pete, what can you tell us about it?
He's a true Australian hero, an icon. He should be recognised.
Should have the Nobel Prize.
Yeah.
So Percy was born in 1903, and I'll just do a little bit of a brief description. Excuse my sexy voice today, because I woke up with that. When Percy was 5 years old, he became partly paralysed from the fumes from striking matches and the phosphate, as well as the phosphates that were used in rabbit poison. And he lived on a farm.
They used to fumigate rabbits and had to light things with matches and at the burrows.
And they didn't know what was causing his paralysis, but Percy turned his own body into a science laboratory when he became older. He went to university and he discovered that there was a direct correlation between disease and superphosphates that are put on the land, like artificial fertilizer. So do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
He grew tobacco in northeast Victoria, also farmed sheep, and he saw the introduction of superphosphate after the Second World War, where the super made the pasture grow like crazy, lush green pasture, and he'd put his sheep on the nice new lush pasture and they started getting growths on their ears and skin. He'd put them back on the older pasture without super and the growths would disappear. And he also researched the fact that before growing tobacco with superphosphate, there wasn't any incidence of lung cancer in smokers. So he was adamant that the superphosphates were one of the causes that was a major cause of cancer in our society. Mm-hmm. And he said he actually developed a tumorous growth on his hand due to hard manual labour. Well, that's what he said it was due to. He went to a specialist who wanted to use radiation and he declined. Apparently that specialist died of cancer himself. His wife developed uterine cancer and he also, at age 32 I think it was, cured himself of leukemia.
With the Percy's powders by
Percy's powders. He said about and experimented a lot because he wanted to become a chemist or a scientist, but had to go back onto the farm. But
he had to go back onto the family farm because cattle thieves stole his family's cattle, so the family struck hardship and they couldn't pay for his uni course anymore, and so he went home and continued to study science on the farm. So when he was 32, he developed leukemia and healed himself. And then when he was 40, he developed a lump on his arm and cured himself from that as well.
And his wife had uterine cancer and he persuaded her to take the powders, and the doctors thought that the cancer had returned. She started developing a swelling in her abdomen, and they did some sort of scan and discovered it was a baby. And she didn't have uterine cancer anymore. So, and that was by taking Percy's powders. And it's a set of sulfate minerals that have magnesium, potassium, iron, zinc, manganese, iodine, selenium. And these set of sulfate minerals plus that selenium and iodine, they are the things that he put together to recommend people who had cancer to take them so they would get rid of their cancer. So he's a legend in Australian history, really, a long time before his time. And it's because of the misfortune of those cattle thieves that he actually got the time to do his study with his animals and himself and his wife, and he saw the introduction of those leftover bomb materials after the Second World War that made things grow, that appeared to make things grow extremely lush, but there was no food value in them whatsoever. And it's the eating organic food wherever possible is a good thing to do for yourself, because you're not consuming a bag full of phosphates, because that's all, like potatoes grown with superphosphate, that's pretty well all they are, a bag full of starch full of superphosphate. And you're causing, your cells to become cancerous.
Okay, so the solution is like, we're talking about the Percy's powders. They come in a little bag, and they're like a complete body tonic or a blood purifier, even, you could say. It's also really, really good to support people with arthritis and inflammation.
Right. Grada's dad had quite bad knees following accidents he had, and he used to take a sachet of Percy's powders every day, and it kept him mobile. It kept his knees going well. Yeah.
And his wife, that's my stepmom, she also took Percy's powder, so they were like in great shape till they were, well into their 90s. That's the same with Percy. Percy continued to work on the farm till he was 98 years old when he retired. Also, when he had the lump on his hand here from swinging the axe during the Second World War, there weren't enough men working on the farm, so all the men had to work really, do a lot of hard work. The men that were left on the farm, and so it was very common for guys to develop cancer in their arms and in their muscles just from, doing the same repetitive movement. And so Percy started his powders, and the tumour literally started to kind of pull away from the muscle, and in the end it was just hanging there by just a few...
sinew or something.
That's right. Sounds awful, doesn't it?
Probably a blood vessel. Yeah.
And so in the end he was just able to cut it off himself, and he was clear. And that was when he was 42, and he continued to work and be very healthy and a role model till he was 98. When he retired, and I think he might have died, when he was in his early hundreds, and he continued to inspire people. Like, he had visitors who came from all over the country to his farm to see how he lived and how active he was, and so he inspired many people. So did you tell people what's in the powder? It's got magnesium, potassium, iron, zinc, manganese, iodine and selenium. But the trick about these minerals is that they are in a special chemical composition. So Pete, do you want to explain about it? Excuse me.
Well, they're a set...
an extra oxygen molecule, don't they?
They're a set of sulfate minerals, so the sulfate is SO4, so it's got extra oxygen that oxygenates the system. And oxygen, kills cells that don't need oxygen to live if you oxygenate the body. And candida and cancer cells are exactly that. They don't, by oxygenating our body, we can kill off those cells. And the sulfates give that extra oxygen.
Yeah, so give Percy's powders a try, whether you have arthritic pain, so you want to boost your immune system, you want to do a blood cleanse, because it is like a body tonic or a blood tonic. If you're feeling lethargic, if you're suffering from brain fog, what are some other things that people... The Percy's powders are a quick pick me up. It comes as with 60 sachets, which is enough for 2 months, isn't it, Pete?
Yep, for one person. It's a sachet a day mixed with some lemon juice. Is a good way to have it.
And it will turn your life around.
We include it in our Purple House smoothie. So if you watched us a few weeks ago make our Purple House smoothie,
I can put a link.
The Percy's powders go into that. That's part of the smoothie mix.
And so we're like super proud of having an Australian product, you know, that's tried and true. It's been virtually been around now, I would say, for nearly 100 years, virtually.
Well, when was he born?
1903, so he was like in his
so,
20s when he made all these discoveries. And it's as good as ever. Like, these are the therapies that don't change, they continue to deliver results. So
we have, over the last couple of years, we have had difficulty getting it at times, but it's very popular when it comes back on the market, and soon...
Yeah, it's always people come in and grab it.
Yep, soon sells out. Helps maintain healthy acid-alkaline balance, assists healthy red blood cell production, maintains energy production, and enhances immune defence. So we've got it in stock at the moment, and hopefully we'll be able to keep on getting it. So if you want it, come in, or you can buy it online. It's on the online shop. But it's just an easy way to really have a good blood tonic and enhance your immune system. And yeah, if you want to look at the Purple House smoothie video, that is a meal in itself that'll keep your energy levels nice and even all day long, and you can include in that. So we used to call that smoothie the cancer busting smoothie. So that's a good way to prevent contracting cancer and getting rid of it again. Okay, hope you've enjoyed this, and we'll see you next week, hopefully. Have a good week. Bye.